Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're unpacking a massive tectonic shift in artificial intelligence, and it's one that is literally rewriting the rules of enterprise software budgets. We're finally moving out of that Wild West experimental phase and into a reality where every single prompt, query, and automated action has a very real price tag attached to it. So let's dive right into this, because what we're looking at is a fundamental change in how businesses operate and, crucially, how they pay for their tech. To get a sense of this scale here, Gartner is projecting a staggering $64 billion in global end-user spending on AI models and platforms. $64 billion. Now, that's not just some macro-level number floating up in the clouds. That is a massive capital expansion that's putting immediate, really intense pressure on daily enterprise budgets. It's fundamentally altering purchasing habits from the top down. So, here's how we're going to break this all down today. First, we'll look at the $64 billion AI boom. Second, the end of fixed pricing. Third, hidden costs and unpredictable budgets. And finally, building the new AI playbook. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the $64 billion AI boom. When you look at where all this money is actually going, you see organizations pouring funds into core building blocks, things like data science platforms and app development software. But the really interesting shift is happening with foundation and domain models. Enterprises are actively moving their wallets towards specialized, domain-specific language models that are tailored for distinct business tasks. Basically, they don't just want generic off-the-shelf AI anymore. They want AI that actually understands the nuances of their specific industry. And because there's just so much money on the table right now, the market is completely saturated. Vendors can't just sell the hype anymore. They're being forced under a microscope to actually prove durable margins and real adoption. The days of just throwing cash at general AI exploration, those are over. If a tool isn't delivering a measurable, economic return in daily workflows, it's getting cut. Simple as that. Which brings us right to Section 2, the end of fixed pricing. The old way of buying software was a pretty tangled mess of fixed per-seat licensing. You paid a flat fee for a user, whether they logged in every single day or literally never logged in at all. It led to totally unpredictable value. But the new way? It's highly targeted. We are shifting to variable usage models that are rigorously evaluated on cost, latency, and reliability. The purchasing criteria have fundamentally changed from just general exploration to very strict ROI. To really grasp this, we have to understand consumption metrics. Think of it kind of like shifting from paying a flat rate for rent to paying a variable utility bill. Every time an AI model thinks, the meter runs. Whether it's API calls or processing tokens, which are essentially the tiny little puzzle pieces of data an AI charges you to read and generate, or multi-step agent actions, you pay for exactly what you consume. Now, it's highly efficient, but just like leaving all the lights on in your house while you go on vacation, it can cause a massive shock to the system if you aren't paying attention. And that leads directly into Section 3, hidden costs and unpredictable budgets. This transition to consumption metrics introduces some immense friction for financial forecasting. Just ask yourself, who pays when your AI gets stuck in a loop? Think about it. If a human makes a mistake, it costs a little bit of time. But if an automated AI agent bugs out and loops 1,000 times in a single minute, you are paying real, actual money for every single one of those processed tokens. Your budget can blow right past its projections in a single afternoon. No joke. So how do these hidden expenses actually multiply? Well, it usually starts with automated coding agents generating complex, multi-step calls behind the scenes. Now, to save money, you might try to route these through a cheaper, lower-tier model. But if that cheap model fails to perform, it triggers excessive retries. Suddenly, you're stuck in a massive cycle of operational rework, and it's quietly draining your budget with every repeated API call. The real crux of the problem here is visibility. Imagine unrolling a massive, miles-long software seat at the end of the month. Without granular tracking, you simply can't trace which specific team, product, or workflow generated yesterday's massive spike in costs. And this total lack of visibility leaves finance leaders completely in the dark, making forecasting nearly impossible. All right, let's wrap this up with Section 4, building the new AI playbook. To survive this new paradigm, you absolutely need a new playbook, and it comes down to 3 distinct steps. Step 1. Deploy dedicated governance platforms to monitor your performance and cap spending. Step 2. Restructure your approvals to connect AI consumption directly to specific operational outcomes. You really need to know exactly why that compute is being used. And Step 3. Evolve your procurement strategies completely away from those static per-seat licenses, moving toward dynamic, consumption-based tracking. Implementing this requires a massive cultural shift. We're calling it the new IT and Finance Alliance. Corporate finance just can't rubber stamp software budgets anymore. They have to ensure measurable economic returns. But they can't do it in a silo. They must lock arms with software engineering to audit those hidden infrastructure costs and link every single token spent directly to productivity gains and business revenue. It's no longer just an IT problem or just a finance problem. It is a shared mandate. And because of this new alliance, the procurement process is fundamentally changing. Enterprises are now heavily favoring software providers that offer built-in evaluation and absolute cost transparency. If a vendor is offering a black box where you just can't see how many tokens are being burned or why they're being burned, they are going to get a thumbs down. They'll lose the contract to someone who can provide that visibility, for sure. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one absolutely critical question to ponder. Is your budget actually ready for the AI meter? We are officially out of the era of predictable fixed costs, and we are right in the thick of the volatile world of token-based consumption. The hidden costs are real, and the meter is already running. So does your organization have the governance and the granular tracking in place to manage these metrics, or are you just waiting for the bill to arrive? Thanks so much for joining me to explore this really fascinating shift. Keep adapting, and I'll catch you next time.